Ita.
Hi, Helen.
Hi, how are you? Good morning, everyone. I see there's a good few joining as we speak. Welcome. It's nice to see a lot of the familiar names. We've got some of the regulars attending our weekly webinar. So thank you for joining us again this week. My name is Helen Walshe. I am one of the flexible work specialists at Employflex. So I suppose every week I kind of give an update on kind of how we've been recruiting and how things have been going. And it's been kind of on the up. It's been quite positive now in the recruitment world after kind of a quiet few months kind of from April. This week, actually, we had a very popular role. It was a fully remote part-time executive assistant role, and we had over 130 applicants in 32 hours. So, and some of you have attended, I still owe many people a response, but that shows both, I know the remote aspect is very appealing, but also the competition is quite high right now because some people are maybe laid off or, maybe, realize they're ready for a change. I think some people have had some downtime and are maybe looking to pivot in a career. And I think that the number of applicants for that role alone made me realize that. Some tips if you are job seeking, because of the amount of applicants I was running through this week, it was interesting how many people didn't have voicemail set up, and that can be quite frustrating. If I am flying through and I say this person's really strong, I want to speak with them, and don't even get a voicemail, and then there's an extra bit of work, and then sometimes people don't have an email on a CV. So they're kind of important, some of the basics, but sometimes, if you were one of the top 10 and then I couldn't get through to you, then unfortunately you might lose out if the caliber is high. And then your CV as well, the conciseness of your CV, I would still say 2 to 3 for the majority of roles, 2 to 3 pages. Ita, you might have a different opinion, and in fairness, Ita does work with kind of maybe some more senior engineers, but I still think that, you can get somebody with 20 years experience with a very concise 2-pager even. So
no more than 3 is what we'd recommend.
Yeah, is that the same, Ita? Yeah. So listen, our topic today is around returnships. I'm sure many of you already are aware of this, but even this week I spoke with another client. They had never heard of the word internships. Returnships are essentially an internship, but for a professional who has maybe 3 to 5 years experience and maybe has had taken 2.5+ years out of work for whatever reasons and are ready to come back in at a level that they left work at. So it's very popular, and J&J have been one of the really strong kind of sponsors of returnships worldwide. And Ita today is our guest speaker, and Ita is a senior talent and acquisition partner with J&J. She's been working in recruitment for 14 years across healthcare technology sector. So yeah, some housekeeping actually, guys, before we proceed. This clip will be recorded and put up on YouTube after. I have disabled the chat function. There's a Q&A section there at the bottom. And once we're finished, Ita's finished running through her short piece, we are very much open to some questions around today's topic, and I'll manage that after the fact. And yeah, over to you, Ita. We'll let you start sharing there.
Great. Thanks very much, Helen. And thank you to everyone at Employflex for inviting us on to catch up with your audience today as well in these very strange times for us all. So we're getting more and more used to presenting on our webinars to loads of different audiences and candidates as well. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Let me know when you can see my screen. I have a couple of short slides, don't worry, not too much. And I'll kick off by talking through our Reignite program at Johnson & Johnson. So can you see the slides okay?
Yeah, that's good, Ita, yeah.
Great, brilliant, okay. So look, as I said, thank you very much for inviting us today to catch up with you guys and give everyone an overview and an introduction to the Reignite program at Johnson & Johnson, but also an opportunity to connect from a J&J perspective with kind of what's happening here and give you an overview on our business. Some of you may know of Johnson & Johnson. Obviously, there are 3 large facilities in the Cork area with Dupuis Synthase in Ringaskiddy, Janssen Biologics in Ringaskiddy, and Janssen Chem in Little Island. And we also then have the Vision Care business in Limerick as well. So probably widely known across the Munster area, but we also have different facilities throughout Ireland as well. So I'll go through that and give you an overview, okay? So as I mentioned, yeah, first off, the facilities in Cork are probably known to most of you guys. We have the Vision Care facility in Limerick that make contact lenses. We also have an automation centre of excellence in Limerick, again involved in the manufacture of eye care products for patients. And then we have the EMEA Development Centre in Limerick as well, and that looks after all technology advances for J&J globally. So all of the supply chain systems, ensuring that the product that Johnson & Johnson make actually gets to the patient and our end user to improve their trajectory of human health and their health and well-being. So yeah, I guess as Helen mentioned, the Reignite program is a global program. So Johnson & Johnson have over 265 companies across the globe and probably employing over 120,000. So it's big, okay. And in Ireland, I guess that's typically about 4,000 people, okay. And we do have facilities in Galway. We have a company in Westport, and then we also have a number of businesses in the Dublin area. Now, in the Dublin area, we typically tend to have slightly different roles than we would have in Cork, Limerick and Galway, where it's more technical and focused roles in Munster and Galway region. In Dublin, it's more your commercial and sales, marketing, product management type roles and things like that available, okay? So we have 4 different offices in Dublin, the Johnson & Johnson consumer business, the earbuds, the cotton wool buds, obviously the baby wipes, and all of those kind of products as well. And then we have medical devices sales team, so they're the sales team who call to hospitals, highlighting the shoulder, hip and knee joints that are made in the Cork facility in Ringaskiddy actually. And then we have the sales Vision Care team as well that call to all of the opticians and yeah, I guess highlight to them the various different types of contact lenses. So I'm not sure if anyone on the call uses contact lenses, but the Vision Care facility in Limerick, where all the contact lenses are made, so the AccuView contact lenses, I'm not sure some of you may know some of those. And then we have the Janssen Sciences business based out of Tala, and that's obviously all the drug products that treat patients with cancer, with immunology or dermatology illnesses like psoriasis. They also have drug products that treat hematology illnesses as well. And again, they're manufactured. Some of those are manufactured in Ringaskiddy, and some of them have are manufactured in the Little Island facility as well. Okay, so I hope that gives you a short overview on kind of the size of Johnson & Johnson globally, and also in Ireland. I guess it's not typically Johnson & Johnson when we think about the cotton buds or the baby wipes, let's be honest, but there is a much broader portfolio as well from a healthcare perspective, where we try to improve and change patients' lives as well, okay? So to jump on to Reignite, some of you hopefully are aware of the programme and may have attended our event that was run in partnership with Employflex 2 years ago now, in 2018 in UCC. It was a really successful event where we launched the Reignite programme in Ireland. So basically it's a return to work programme, and it's a paid returnship for experienced professionals who have taken a break in their career. And by a break, we mean 2 or more years of a break, and that can be for different reasons. So it can be for caring for a family member, it can be caring for children, it may be potentially to upskill and to do additional education, it may be to travel, although not in these COVID times. But yeah, for any variety of reasons, for both men and women to come back into the workplace after a minimum of a 2-year career break, and specifically into the STEM industry. So by STEM industry, what I mean is people who have qualifications or experience working in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, but also, I guess, who have worked in our industry previously, so the pharmaceutical, medical device type industry, and are looking to return to that industry and workspace. So just going to show you a quick video. Bear with us for a moment now, because by the time we jump screens, hopefully it'll be loading. Actually, sorry, I had it open already. So let me know if you can see the change in screen. Okay.
Yeah, that's looking good so far. Yeah. Actually, Ita, will you pause it there a second? There's no sound.
Okay, 2 seconds now.
A little bit choppy, so I'll just maybe sometime. Oh, it's buffering away there, so I think it might be.
So I was hoping that opening it beforehand it would have loaded, but maybe not.
You can see that it's loaded so far up to kind of. Would that be a load? Yeah, let's give it a try again.
Yeah.
I know these are always the fun parts of anything live.
Anything live, that's it. And we're all getting used to new technologies. But as well as that, obviously, I'll share these slides with you after, Helen, to
Thanks,
send
Ita.
to everyone. So,
yeah,
so the video
it's a great. And actually, this video is on YouTube. Is that right? Is this the video that is out there available? Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. So let's try it again and hope for the best. Let me know though, obviously, if you can't hear it, because we just send it across after.
Okay. Still no sound there, Ita. There's still no sound, unfortunately.
Still no sound. Okay, we'll leave it then. We'll jump back to the presentation and I'll send it across. So.
I can send this link. It's only like a 2.5 minute clip. I can send this link when we send kind of our thank you after the fact. So that's perfect. No problem. Perfect.
Thank you. So sorry about that, everyone. But yeah, I guess, look, essentially it's summarising what we're talking about here and what is included in the programme and the benefit of the programme to people returning to the workplace after that extended break of 2 years or more. So typically we have a number of roles each year, okay, that we promote as Reignite roles, where we will only consider people returning to the workplace. Since we've launched the programme in 2018 and it's been so successful, we've brought some extremely diverse and interesting people into our businesses across the globe and also across Ireland. And we've actually broadened that. So anyone that's looking to return to the workplace after a 2-year career break and move into the STEM industry can qualify for this programme. And what the programme includes is 4 months support and resources for an associate returning to work, okay? Because obviously we understand that someone that has been out of the workplace for a period of time, things have changed, technologies have changed, and it can be very daunting. So, you know, everyone's confidence needs a little bit of a lift. Everyone needs a little bit of extra support to hit the ground running. So within this programme, it's quite a high touch programme where we provide specific projects based on your previous experience to make the transition back into the workplace a lot easier. We provide a very, very comprehensive onboarding process. So we have a current onboarding process for people who are moving from one job to the other, but this is actually an additional onboarding process to bring people up to speed on industry skills that they may have forgotten or weren't aware of previously. Okay, obviously it's a paid returnship. Okay, you will receive support from Johnson & Johnson mentors and also previous Reignite alumni, so people who have also returned and are now up and running and have been working with the organisation for some time. You'll also get a buddy. So that buddy will check in with you on a weekly basis, and you'll schedule you know, coffee chats, and just to ensure that if you're facing any challenges or finding it difficult maybe to balance you know, whatever the situation is at home while returning to work, that we can potentially work with you to help and facilitate that transition a little bit easier. And also there's virtual group coaching for the global Reignite audience that a returner can avail of and get coaching and development and learning skills on an ongoing basis. So it's fantastic program. I'm obviously going to say that working for Johnson & Johnson, but I do know a number of people, and I want to give an example of one lady specifically. She's in the Munster area. I was involved in her hiring for a Reignite role. She had a science qualification and took that's 7 years out actually from working within the STEM industry. She had a situation where she was caring for some of her family, and there were some disabilities and challenges that she became a full-time carer for a member of her family, basically. But she used her ability to set up different organizations to support that disability. She developed her knowledge and educated herself around the disability for her family member, and also used her skills while she was out of the workplace and used those project management skills to get things up and running for the individual in her family, and also care for that person and care for other members of her family who are adapting and adjusting as well. So, we recognize that as, phenomenal work really, and identify the level of diversity that she could bring to our team when she was coming back into the workplace. So she came back into the workplace Johnson & Johnson division in Munster, and she commenced a 23-month fixed-term contract role, went through this Reignite program, and after a 6-month period passed her probation, continued on her contract basis, and has now been converted to a permanent employee. And in fact, actually, she has moved role and received a promotion within that period of time. So we recognise all of the learnings that from her 7 years out of work, she could bring into our teams and actually use that knowledge to develop a really good team environment, broaden people's knowledge and understanding of people's different situations that they're dealing with outside of work, and support different people within her as well. So huge success story. She is loving back in the workplace, but can also balance obviously her responsibilities at home as well. Yeah, she's like a breath of fresh air around the place. But look, we've got numerous success stories. So out of 99 people we recruited in 2018 and 2019, sorry, 100 returners across the globe. 99 have been converted and are still with the organisation. One person, they made a decision, actually, they were in the US, to go back to, they were a veteran in the US, so ex-army. They made the decision actually to go back into service. So that's why it didn't work out for them, and they didn't accept the role with Johnson & Johnson that was offered to them. So, but yeah, again, feedback is everyone benefits from the program. So hopefully that gives you an overview of the program. What I also wanted to touch on, and hopefully Losie will have some questions in the Q&A, is how to apply for Johnson & Johnson. So that's both Reignite roles, but also other roles across the business as well, depending on your own personal situation. So if you want to register for careers.jnj.com/Reignite, as I said, we'll share these slides with everyone after. You'll get notified when any Reignite opportunities in the Irish market and specifically in your location become available. I'd also suggest that if you're interested in working for Johnson & Johnson overall, register for our Global Talent Hub and register for any areas of the business that you might be interested in working within. Now, I will say, okay, and please do bear this in mind, there will be specific requirements for each role, okay? So you will potentially have to have a qualification of a level 7, potentially a degree level qualification. If it's a scientific role, it may require a PhD depending. So I would also say have a look at the minimum requirements and also the levels of experience, so work experience or industry experience or professional experiences in the past. So each role will have different requirements. And then obviously if it's something that you're interested in, apply for it. I guess from a job search perspective, I would always recommend people to register on LinkedIn, and I'm sure Helen says the same. And when you do register on LinkedIn, I've provided here a list of all of the talent acquisition within Johnson & Johnson who are responsible for recruitment for all areas of the business across Ireland. And feel free to connect with all of us. You'll see updates on our pages frequently about the types of roles that are available in Ireland, how to apply for them, and we can guide you through an application process, but also tell you if you're not suitable for a role and why you're not suitable for a role as well. Okay. So yeah, as I said, we'll share these names with you thereafter as well. So look, I guess that's my overview complete. Apologies again about the technical difficulties with the video, but as I said, we'll share it after the meeting. And yeah, I guess I suppose I'd love to know if anyone has any questions at this stage.
Ita, if you want to, thanks so much, Ita. If you want to stop sharing, so then it'll just come up as hopefully just our two faces then. Brilliant. Listen, thanks very much. That was a really good overview. I think sometimes you kind of hear about returnships and a lot of people say maybe that's not for me, but I was lucky enough to attend the event that we ran. November, God, was it 2018? Yeah, it was that long ago.
Yeah.
And it was brilliant to meet some of the people, the success stories. You know, they're just regular people like you and I, who many of them really, especially the females, they really lost their mojo, a bit of imposter syndrome. And I think that event that you ran was fantastic, really warm and welcoming. They got a chance to meet like-minded people like themselves as well. And then some, you know, it wasn't as intimidating then for them to go on and apply. So actually, Ita, on that, do you have any intention? I know it'll be a virtual event at this stage. Do you think you've plans maybe next year for another kind of event like that?
Definitely, yeah. And I suppose we did have plans this year to run an event, you know, because we had such success. I was actually off on mat leave when that event was on. But believe it or not, people contacted me. You know, I've been working for some time there, and people contacted me that travelled from right throughout Ireland down to Cork to attend the event, and provided excellent feedback as well, because they felt they got a little bit more understanding and direction from it and what the returnship program can offer them, and both men and women alike. You know, when you're out of the working environment for a period of time, you know, your self-worth and confidence can be impacted, and I even know that from being on maternity leave, you know, and that's only for a period of 9 months or whatever it was. So yeah, we had planned to run one this year, but to reiterate what you said at the start of the call, you know, we were impacted by COVID-19 as well. The levels and volume of recruitment that we've done this year hasn't been as high as other years. It has picked up again now since September and October, thankfully, and will continue into the Christmas, hence why I'm manic busy at the moment. But it will be busier again in 2021, I guess, just between March and August. I guess there's so much unknown out there about a lot of what was happening across the globe, because the products that are manufactured in Ireland are supplied across the globe into the healthcare sector, and the healthcare sector was turned on its head because COVID became priority in every country across the globe. So that's why we didn't hold an event this year. We didn't have that many roles. We do actually have 2 Reignite roles opening up next week. Yeah, next week, which we'll be sharing and will be going up on the website. They're roles for the Janssen Biologics facility in Ringaskiddy. And then we intend to hold an event, hopefully in Q2 of next year, is what we're aiming for.
Brilliant. So that's great timing. So you are hoping to announce 2 new roles next week, both Cork-based?
Both Cork-based, yeah, absolutely.
Can you give me an idea of the remote? Is there a hybrid? What's happening right now with your own team, J&J? I can tell that you're probably not in J&J office right now. Is it a bit of a remote situation for many, or what way is it working?
Yes, so I guess obviously all of the manufacturing facilities stayed open because they are essential, so the drug products that are being manufactured. But I guess it's mainly just the manufacturing and the operations, which is the heart of all of our businesses, that are on site. A couple of senior leaders from time to time as well, but they're mainly working from home. As a healthcare technology company, Johnson & Johnson have pretty strict rules around that, in the sense that we have to reduce the risk as much as we can. So none of us within talent acquisition have been on site since March 12th. And to be honest, that's the same as most areas of the business, apart from, as I said, the operations teams and some of the quality laboratory teams as well. Aside from that, though, everyone's working full time, and probably will be for the remainder of the year, depending on how the government recommendations go. We may start moving to phase people back in January. So yeah, that's where we're at. I came back from maternity leave, so I haven't been there in about a year and a half.
Yeah, wow. You missed the office. It's a very nice office. Can I ask you actually, have you hired people? Sorry, I'm jumping, but like, it's interesting to know, have you done some hiring since you returned? Like, have you onboarded people completely virtually in maybe? Yeah.
Yeah, so this year alone, even with the restrictions, in total, we've hired just over about 250 people at this stage across all the Irish businesses.
Wow. Okay, that's good to know. So it's kind of a seamless. No, I'm sorry, I was digressing a bit there. Now, you alluded to males, and that event I attended, I did meet many. I think sometimes there's an assumption, returnships, maybe the mom, but there was quite a few males. It's open, obviously, across gender. Can you give me an idea? You mentioned the 100 people who, over the last, say, 2 years, can you give me an idea of the kind of gender mix there?
Yeah, it is more female.
Of course, yeah.
Across the globe, because females are the person who's more likely to take up, be it a caring role of one description or another. But as I said, so it's about 70-30 to answer your question.
Okay.
But as I said, it doesn't have to be, from if you're on a break for caring for someone, or it doesn't really matter why you're on a break, to be honest.
Yeah.
And it's just the fact that you're returning to the workplace. So it can be the wide variety of reasons, as I mentioned, be it traveling, additional education, upskilling.
Yeah.
So we would see some people who upskill during their time out as well, where they may have given up a role, wanted to take that time out to upskill and maybe spend time at home for their own personal reasons, but they're returning after a 2-year break.
Okay. I'll get into more of the questions. So that was one of the questions around open to men only, and I was kind of interested to hear the stat on that. So thanks, Ita. Now, another question from one of our attendees. Hi, Audrey. Hi, Ita. Is the Reignite program for STEM only? Audrey is a qualified accountant with 30 years experience in multinationals. She's taken a 2-year break and now is keen to return to the workplace. And this program sounds amazingly beneficial to her.
Yeah, absolutely. No, good question, Audrey. So originally, when the program was launched in 2018, it was only for STEM roles. Okay, however, since literally just January 2020, they have extended that out to all roles. Okay, so we absolutely will consider someone who's been on a career break for all positions across the organisation. And so the finance function and finance team will absolutely consider Reignite applicants. So definitely apply for finance roles at J&J.
Oh, that's great news.
And you would qualify then for, once you've been on a break for 2 years, you will qualify for the returner program, the Reignite program.
I think you'll be hearing and getting a LinkedIn connection from Audrey. That's brilliant. And actually, can you tell me about flexibility, or most of those roles come in at a full-time or close to full-time level, Ita?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's something that's part of the program as well, because obviously some people will require flexibility depending on what their own situation is, what they're returning from, and what that transition looks like. So typically most roles are full-time, and that's kind of something that's discussed with the recruiter at the initial stages of the interview process. What can you commit to and what can't you commit to? The 2 roles that are opening up next week will be on a shift basis, actually. So in some instances, I know the people that we've brought into those roles previously in a Reignite capacity, the shift basis suits them, basically, or the shift pattern, I should say, suits them.
Okay, brilliant. And actually, you've answered some of the other questions around success rate, because it was very successful in terms of converting to some form of full-time or extension of contract. What about degree? Oh, you actually alluded to that too, the degree level. Somebody was saying, I don't have a degree, but I have 10+ years So that's all positive. You
Well,
observe.
so yeah, and really what that comes down to, I guess, is role specific. So when you see the role advertised, you would see if someone does require a degree or not. And some roles don't necessarily require that degree level, and it can be additional. It is typically additional education after your leaving cert. Okay, so be it level 6, level 7, where you've done some type of upskilling or learning, but that will be highlighted on the advert what the minimum requirements are.
Okay, that's great. I think sometimes there's the fear that, unfortunately, there are still some industries that are very much, prerequisite as a degree, and it's such a shame because we'd have amazing people with unbelievable. So hopefully more.
And I'll be honest, Helen, we do fall into that category a little bit. Okay, so when you look at the list of roles that we'd be advertising across the Johnson & Johnson businesses, they are quite technical roles. Okay, the large volume, there will be some roles that don't require it. The large volume of roles may require it. So I'm not going to say we're totally flexible on it either.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. No, thanks for being honest around that.
Yeah.
We have another question in there from Mary. Hi, Mary. Hi, Ita. I've been out of work for 17 years to raise my family. I've worked in QC in a pharma company previously. I just completed my MSc in pharmaceutical business and technology. I live in Dublin. Will there be any suitable roles for me with J&J here? And actually, Ita, do you manage Ireland, Munster? What's your, yeah.
Well, I manage Munster, the key synthase business, and actually recruitment in the Nordic region. So Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. But I have an overview on all of the recruitment in Ireland. So, Mary, unfortunately, the challenge there, I guess, is that we don't have any manufacturing facilities in the Dublin area. It's predominantly, we wouldn't have any labs, and it's predominantly commercial and sales roles. Okay, so based on that, it's unlikely that we'd have anything in the Dublin area, but we absolutely would down south, which mightn't necessarily suit, but I mean, a background like that sounds perfect for the Reignite program, So yeah, no, unfortunately, probably nothing around the Dublin area.
Okay. Oh, sorry, Mary, about that. But like returnships has become very more popular. I'm seeing it a lot. I've kind of got a Google alert coming up and anything mentioning around returns. And there seems to be some more companies, especially in the kind of Leinster region, embracing this it's kind of a new little bow to their kind of offering. So definitely.
Yeah, and that's what I call out probably, Mary, when I'm applying in that area, I call that out, that you have actually upskilled by recently and completed your additional education, from a pharmaceutical technology manufacturing perspective, and call that out in your cover letter, and when you're applying to roles in the Dublin area, because there is actually quite a lot of recruitment going on up that neck of the woods with Wexy Biologics, with all the pharmaceutical businesses as far out as Louth, and North County Dublin with BMS, obviously MSD are going through their expansion there, Milan, and those kind of companies, who are all very, very successful pharmaceutical companies as well, So I would definitely highlight that you have upskilled, I guess, continued your additional education, and try and connect directly with the talent partners in that company as well.
Okay, that's a great tip. Thanks. I hope that helps, Mary. Mary, yes. And sorry, we have another one here from Marie or Mari. Probably more fitting with the Dublin, because you mentioned commercial and sales. Marie, her background is in finance and banking services. And would you have any insight into, do you predict anything down the line? I know you've 2 launching next week in Cork. Do you know yet Dublin-wise, or what's?
I don't have visibility on what Reignite roles will be available next year in 2021. We're hopefully just getting those figures over the course of the next couple of weeks. So what I would say is register for the Reignite careers page, and you'll be able to sign up for automatic notifications. So if a role was to be posted in January, February in the finance area, you get a notification saying Johnson have a Reignite opportunity in finance. So I'd say definitely go down that route. I'm not aware of anything in finance coming at the moment, but as I said, we're only gathering that info as we speak.
Okay, well, that's great. And actually, Mary, that lady Mary Hasta came back there again. She actually did her dissertation in regulatory affairs, so that's the area she'd like to work in. Or her dissertation, was in the area of pharmaceutical regulation. So she would love to work in regulatory affairs. So rather than a lab, would that differ?
Yeah.
So your advice differs slightly for her?
Reg Affairs. Yeah, I suppose the challenge with Reg Affairs nowadays, Mary, is a lot of these teams are based out of Ireland in the pharmaceutical industry. But there are a number of companies who will, in the Dublin area, who will have smaller teams. You know, it just means that the frequency of the opportunities aren't available then, you know, that they don't come up as often as positions in laboratories would and things like that, you know. So I probably would consider both avenues, you know, to return to work and to get back into the industry, and to upskill and get that work and knowledge of how to navigate into regulatory affairs then at that time. Just to kind of have as many irons in the fire as possible, you know.
Okay, well, that's good tips, Mary. Fantastic. I'd say her CV is incredible, in fairness. We have another question here from Jenica. I've been out of work due to family for 2 years this coming January. I have a degree in public health. However, I am interested in trying the transition into pharma. I am currently looking into reskilling into health and safety. Will there be any opportunities within this area in the future?
So from a health and safety perspective, we do require health and safety qualifications for any EHS type roles that become available across the businesses, and they do come up quite often, about twice, 3 times a year in all of the facilities in Cork and Limerick. We've quite a big EHS group, as you can imagine, how important safety is on each of the sites. And you know, our employee safety is number 1 priority. But trying to think, transition from public health would require additional education, I guess, from a health and safety perspective. However, because you do have a scientific background, you absolutely, the roles that are opening up next week, you know, they might be of interest to you. So I definitely take a look at them. And again, as kind of similar to as I was saying to Mary, you know, to make a move and a transition into industry, you won't always get into your perfect role first. You know, you kind of have to use the experience that you have to make that move back into industry, get that support from a Reignite perspective, and then continue your own professional development in the areas of interest, like to do. Would require additional education. Is that okay? Does that answer your question? Sure.
Yeah, she's saying very interesting. I appreciate your answer. That's actually great to hear that. You know, it's good advice. You know, don't, you know, it's kind of like we have this challenge a lot. Oh, I'm not going to apply for the job because I don't tick 80% of the spec. When really, if it's an industry you're really keen to get into, if the, you know, maybe the flexibility or whatever else, you know, do get in and start it, and you know, that's how you grow within the industry then and within the business and build up your contacts.
Yeah, and what I'd always say to people as well, Helen, you know, while it's very disheartening, it doesn't help the confidence either. I know I've been through it, you know, where you get regretted. You know, sometimes unfortunately it does just come down to the fact that there's nothing wrong with you. It's just there were stronger people in the mix.
Yeah.
And it's a very competitive market out there at the moment. So as I would say, you know, really try and avoid taking these things personally. You know, look at it from a clinical perspective and understand, okay, what the company has done is weigh up the best potential talent, and they're bringing what they feel is the most suitable shortlist forward for interview. But, you know, use that, I suppose, energy. So even if you kind of feel deflated and stuff, flip it around, be resilient, and continue the search, you know. And I know that's easier said than done. But I always say to people that will only make people stronger by using that resilience and applying for other roles in other companies.
Yeah, it's I know it can be tough, and I talk to people all the time. It's try to not take it personally, you know. It's like, okay, next transaction, you know. It's kind of like you kind of nearly have to separate yourself with, you know, from the kind of application, because it can be. And as I said, like that, the standard of CVs I got earlier this week for this remote executive assistant role were unbelievable. So many CVs were really, really strong. And then there were just some that were ticking. They happened to have an industry experience, like unbelievable, just very transferable skills, would hit the ground running. And it was just such tough competition. You know, I would start saying, oh, definitely.
There's only one role usually. So
yeah. I know. And then like I had some people coming back to me saying, is it because of the gap in my CV? I'm like, 100% not. They came to us, Employflex, because we are all about finding flex. Loads of our people. Just 2 weeks ago, I placed a lady in a role, and she had not worked, she has done 10 years of childcare. In 11 years, she hasn't worked in an office environment in 11 years. She's got a fantastic job share. And, you know, she's just so happy. She's just a new woman. And look, it sometimes is the wait, and there's a lot of grafting to be done, but keep at it. I know, as Ita said, it's easier said than done sometimes, but yeah, the resilience. Everyone's talking about resilience this year. So keep going. And, you know, I will say one thing as well. This year, loads of my clients have asked in an interview, how have you managed COVID? How have you managed? They want, you know, we could all go negative and hop on the negative bandwagon about poor, mean, victimized, but no, show that you've upskilled. I've done a free course. I've explored this. I've done something new. Just show a bit of proactiveness, and it'll you know, be a differentiator for you as well in the job.
Yeah, and we're seeing that. So even if it's online free virtual courses that someone's upskilling in, to the likes of, now I probably can't talk seeing as we couldn't work the video there, but you know, even just using new technologies like Zoom, like Microsoft Teams, like Skype, a lot of us weren't using a lot of those a year ago, you know. And so there's loads of free online tutorials on LinkedIn, even around LinkedIn Learning and things on how to upskill. You know, for someone that's returning to work, if they can display that they've done additional courses and education, you know, they're showing a level of commitment to, you know, this, I'm serious about this. I really want to get back working again. Like, I'm done with whatever I was taking my time out at, you know.
Yeah, no, 100% echo that. Final question. What are the challenges most commonly faced by some of your returners?
The balance. So balancing and getting used to that transition and getting a process in place. So whatever they've left and are coming from, getting used to their new schedule of a new role. So it's not actually the role itself or the work environment or, you know, mingling with colleagues again, because the Reignite program gives that support structure where that transition is actually quite easy, but it's actually to break away from whatever they were out for and manage that transition and transition of their time. That can take, you know, up to 6 months. So that's why during the Reignite program, there's all of those touch point conversations, because if someone is really, really struggling with it, we want to provide support so that they can bridge it and be successful. But also if they feel that they can't, that conversation has to be had as well. You know, now we haven't had that actually so far, but given the program's relatively new, you know, it's 2 years on the run. So in total, I guess across Ireland, I don't think I mentioned that figure. There's been 11 people in the past 2 years that we have hired and have stayed on in a permanent capacity then.
And I've heard that a lot, that it's never the task, it's never the work, it's the juggling. It's the juggling, it's trying to, it's the kind of holistics, everything else in your life and making it fit in.
To be honest, as I say, Helen, I think when you're in employment, you're still balancing, you're still fighting with that and the juggling as well.
Of course, 100%. It's never going to go away. Never. Listen, we've answered all the questions. Yeah. Ita, thanks a million. I'm just going to quickly tell people who is up next week, this time next week at 11 a.m. And it's kind of complementary to what Ita has been alluding to around LinkedIn, because next week we have Louise Bunyan again. She is fantastic. Her company is called SmartFox Digital, and she is a fantastic LinkedIn trainer. She does great LinkedIn training programs for job seekers, and she would normally do this one-to-one at a cost. So she's doing this to our webinar attendees for free this time next week. And, you know, I think more than ever, LinkedIn, because we can't go out and actual network face-to-face. So boosting and improving your LinkedIn profile is key right now if you're job seeking. And Louise, every time I hear her speak, there's new takeaways. And, you know, what's really fantastic is the kind of Q&A that comes from it. You know, you'll learn from somebody else's question. You know, you didn't even realize it was something new, but you'll always, even if you've attended, Louise did one of these maybe earlier in the summer with us, I think log in again, because you'd never know the new tips and the new learnings. And probably when she did speak, maybe back in May, we didn't expect to still be in lockdown in mid-November. So, you know, she might have new learnings and, you know, new ways of maybe networking and contacting, you know, some potential talent acquisition people. So Ita, you named some of your peers. Would you actually be okay with some of our attendees today now actually connecting? Are you used to receiving connections like that? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. And you know, I come from an era when I remember when LinkedIn was launched in 2002. I think I was starting to work, So I can't believe I'm saying that, because I thought it was crazy when it came out first. But now I guess, look, it's a tool we're on every day, and it's a tool we use every day to connect with people, because as you said, aside from COVID, unfortunately we don't get to meet as many people as we'd like to, you know. So yeah, as I said, I'll share the slides with you. Have a look at the video. The video is really good. I'm sorry again it didn't work. And connect with all of talent acquisition team at Johnson & Johnson, and look, they'll be really, you know, they'll come back to you and tell you if you're going to be considered for the role, how to apply for the role, if you're not going to be considered for the role, why, and things like that. So no, we'd be delighted to connect with anyone. Yeah,
fantastic. And actually, for those of you that maybe not be happy with your LinkedIn profile as is, come back this time next week, improve your profile, and then connect with those people, because first impressions are very important, even on LinkedIn. Ita, listen, thank you so much. And actually, there's a few Q&As, but they're just all thank yous. Thanks, Janet, Jenica, everyone's, Rachel, thank you so much. Everyone's just coming back with thank you to yourself, Ita. Thanks very much for giving us your time today. Tune in same time next week, everyone. This will be available on YouTube after for you to check in, and we will share that clip, because it is a great clip, and it's kind of local. Is it localized to Ireland? Yeah, which is lovely. Because I think sometimes the multinationals will send something and it's very Americanized, whereas this is nice and it's a bit more local, and I think it makes you realize that, oh, I could be one of those people this time next year.
Absolutely.
So on that note, thank you again, everyone. Listen, we're over, I just heard on the radio yesterday, we're over halfway through this lockdown, so we're there. We've got this. Thanks, Yvonne, as well. Ita, thanks again.
Mention the man in the big red suit. It's too early for me anyway.
No, no. But let's hope that we can actually meet some people in the month of December. Thanks again, everyone. Ita, again, thanks a million, and take care, and we'll see you all next week.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay,
bye-bye.
Bye.